All right, welcome to another episode of Conquer the Course. I'm Jim Lubinsky here. Once again, it's Rob Dalmore, coach. It's been a while, buddy. It's good to be back on the ones and twos with my boy,
That's good.
Robbie.
The demand was out there. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I got you, buddy. Come on.
No, you got me. The demand was out there. I had the shout outs from the fans, and they were asking for it. So here we are.
It's always a pleasure to share the airwaves with you. Just for you guys listening, maybe tuning in for the first time, we have a whole series of race-ready podcasts where we're getting you ready for on-course action. We talk about the right gear, the right nutrition, the right execution plan, the right mindset, and we take you through the details of all the courses. Today, we're going to talk about Ironman New Zealand. A little bit about myself. If you guys want to listen to any more of my buttery tones, you can listen to the Tower 26 Be Race Ready podcast, where myself and my business partner, Jerry Rodriguez, talk a lot about triathlon swimming, a lot about triathlon execution, and kind of current events in the triathlon world. Rob, where can these listeners find other media entities that feature my boy, Coach Rob Dalmore?
Yeah. And also, I'm also on a local podcast, the New Zealand Triathlete podcast, where we just talk about anything triathlon and every other sport.
Hey,
and every other sport. Yeah.
What's the name of
So
that
you got to
podcast?
listen to that. The New Zealand Triathlete podcast. Yeah, New Zealand Triathlete magazine podcast.
You don't even know the name of your damn podcast. All right, the New Zealand Triathlete podcast, Tower 26 Be Race Ready podcast.
Yeah.
We're excited.
I'm just a hired gun.
We're going to share our knowledge and our information. We have over 2,700 athletes racing Ironman New Zealand 70.3 if you combine the two fields. We're going to talk about the ins and outs of the course right there. There has been some changes this year, so you can't just listen to last year's version of the Conquer the Course podcast and think, oh, I'm set. You got to listen to this new version. Now, I'm recording on a new site called Riverside FM. So there might be a little learning curve to this, but I think we're good to go here, Rob. I'm going to be sharing the screen. I'm going to be showing you guys some ins and outs. We're going to post this on YouTube as well, on the Conquer the Course YouTube channel, as well as anywhere you find your podcasts under Conquer the Course. And you have your 2026 Ironman New Zealand course detail. So, Robbie, where do we want to start with this? You want to start with the pro field? Who's racing? We don't talk a lot about pros on this, but if you guys want to know who you're towing the start line with, should we go over a few of the relevant pros who are starting this race this weekend?
I think we need to, because this is the first year that Ironman New Zealand's been a Pro Series race, which is really significant because, Ironman New Zealand's the oldest Ironman outside of Hawaii. So it's the longest, it's been the most loyal fan base for the sport. And to get a Pro Series race in New Zealand is a big deal. So I think it's really important that we acknowledge the fact that it is a Pro Series race. It means that the best athletes are going to be doing Ironman New Zealand because they want to get their Pro Series points early. And obviously, there's the Kona slots for them as well. But a really good early season Ironman performance sets them up for a very, very good race. And we'll see in the start list that.
And it's an awesome race. It's an awesome race.
Yeah,
for these guys to show up and race this course, it's demanding, it's challenging. You don't know what the weather conditions are going to be, the wind, the heat, the sun, the rain. There's a lot of different factors that can play into the performance. And I think it's a great early season test for a lot of these athletes who are towing the start line. So let's look at them. You can run the crew through some of these athletes who are starting. But who you got on this list so far? We got the women.
Well. Yeah, and the women. So defending champ Regan Holyoake, she was super strong last year. Kat Matthews, it's probably the biggest name that's racing. As we know, Kat was second place at Kona, one of the fastest runners in the sport, and she's going to be firing on all cylinders in Taupo. Berry, she was fourth in Kona. She's a local favourite, and I saw her running yesterday. And she's looking fast, so every other woman in the field better watch out. Jocelyn McCauley, she's a previous winner at Ironman New Zealand. And Lottie Wilms, and we know that Lottie's been racing really well the last couple of years as well. And then other than that, I saw actually in terms of the swim strength in the field, Steph Clutterbuck and Rebecca Clark are racing, and they're two of the fastest swimmers in the sport. Fenella Langridge as well, she's a
Clutterbuck and Clark coming out.
Yeah, and Langridge as well. She's a great swimmer.
Should be a good battle there for the women. What we got for the men? Who are these? Who
Yeah,
are these athletes going to see in transition, tuning up their bike prior to the race?
one other name we've got to mention for the women, Tamara Jewett, one of the fastest runners in the sport. We've got the fastest swimmers and the fastest runners, so it's going to be a really interesting race. Watching how that race spreads out through the day, I'm looking forward to that. Men's wise, obviously Mike Phillips, defending champ. He's just a beast. He's such a well-balanced athlete, so we see him get stronger through the day. But Christian Blumenfeld can't hide from that name. But don't really need to mention much about him. He's won everything. He's not GOAT status yet, I don't think, but he might get there. He needs to win Kona first to be a GOAT. He's getting up there very, very quickly, but he's going to be absolutely smashing it. From what I've heard, the people that have trained with him the last couple of weeks in Auckland have been saying how fast he is. Rasmus Svenningsson, he's really strong. He's a super athlete. Trevor Foley's an incredible runner and great cyclist as well. But also Jack Moody and Matt Hansen, two of the fastest runners as well in the sport.
And this course is great for those runners. I mean, 4 loops on this run course. So, and what we're going to talk about is how demanding the bike course is. If that bike course is overcooked and these guys get off the bike and they haven't saved the legs for the run, it could be a long run. And if the guys have saved for the legs for the run, it could be a fast run. So
exactly.
It should be interesting stuff.
It's going to be good because, Kyle Smith, he's a local favourite. He's a hometown favourite, so he always wants to race well. But it's going to be interesting to see how Fred Funk races there. He's a German Uber biker. About Pierre Lacour, Fred from France. This will be his first Ironman, and Pierre Lacour's been a fantastic short course athlete for years.
A lot of big guns telling the start line. It should be.
Yeah, we do.
Let's get into the course. Now. They saw the list. They know who to look out for, but. Enough rigmarole here. These guys want to hear about how they're going to conquer this course, right? Hence the name of the podcast.
Exactly.
How are we going to break this down? You want to start with the swim? It's the same swim we've been doing for years. What do we need to look out for on the swim in this course?
This swim's quite unique in that it's a mass start for the Ironman. 70.3 is a rolling start, but let's talk Ironman here. So it's a mass start. It's
only mass start left, right? I mean, there's no more mass starts left in the sport except for Ironman New Zealand.
Yeah. And the reason why
where should athletes line up based on their ability level?
The reason why there's a mass start is because you can have the start line as pretty much as wide as you want. You can be out in the deep on the buoy line with all the big hitters and swim the straightest line on the course, or if you're not as confident swimming out with those stronger swimmers out the deep, you can actually start on the beach in knee deep water and just facing down the shore towards the first turn, and you swim sort of an angle to get in line to line yourself up with the first buoy turn, which is about 800 meters down the beach. So it's a drag race, and you can make it as intense and as fast or as relaxed and as comfortable as you want it to be, which makes this race so good. And then once you turn at the first turn buoy, you take another short sort of 100-meter stretch, and then you do a long stretch all the way back down past the start-finish line and down to the other end of the beach. Which that stretch itself is pretty long, but by then you're actually into the rhythm of it. You don't really notice how long it takes you to get through that part of the course. And then the final turn coming back, or the final stretch coming back along the lakefront. Generally, it's coming into the sun, so it's important to understand where you are on the course, the group you're in, just understanding and navigating that course really well. But all the buoys in between the main turn buoys have numbers on them as well, so it's easy to figure out.
Unless you're a 40 to 45 minute swimmer, there's going to be somebody in front of you. If you get that, you're turning that sun, just look at the splashes ahead of you, follow those splashes. Now the 70.3 course, is it just cut off halfway through, you head to the finish?
Yeah, so the 70.3 70.3 you start on the beach, rolling start, and you head straight out.
So you do the back half of the course for the 70.3.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So again, 70.3 athletes, you'll have that sunstroke. And also, because Ironman starts a little bit later in the morning, it probably won't be as bad for Ironman as it will be for the 70.3 athletes. So that's just something to keep in mind.
And something to think about, the lake. I've raced Ironman a bunch of times. I raced the 70.3. it could be windy, right? And when it's windy, you can actually get whitecaps on this lake. So it's something to look out for. Is this something that you guys be expecting on race day? You've been looking at the winds?
Um, at this stage, it's probably not going to be too bad. The winds are pretty light, 10k on average throughout the day, which is pretty light, and it's from the westerly, so it's going to be a little bit sheltered. You might get a little bit of chop down the first turn, but the good thing is you'll probably have a tailing whip breeze in the first part of the swim anyway to get yourself into the rhythm of it.
And what are we looking at for water temperature?
Yeah, it's pretty warm. It's never really that cold in this lake. The air temperatures.
No wetsuit?
Oh, always wetsuit. But the air temperature is normally a little bit cooler than the water temperature. So it's probably 18, 19 degrees, maybe 20 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, actually, just looking specifically at 8 a.m. at this stage, 5k westerlies, which is nothing. That's a very, very nice day. So
nice,
it's looking
long,
great.
relaxed strokes. Don't overcook it. You get a warmer water in the wetsuit. There's a chance that you could overheat, right? So keep it long,
Yeah.
keep it relaxed, keep it strong. Don't fight the water. Stay smooth, stay efficient, knowing, hey, I got a really challenging bike, a hot exposed run. If I overheat in the swim, I'm going to have a long rest of the day. So try and keep that core temperature down as much as you can. Try and stay nice and relaxed and save as much energy for that bike and run as you can by keeping that swim stroke long and efficient.
Exactly. Now, the key part with this race as well, for when you come out of the water and you run up to transition, is, as you know, Jim, is that massive steep hill to come out straight out of the water.
I know.
As soon as
I don't think my heart has ever spiked that high as when I came out of that freaking water last at the 70.3 World Championships.
Yeah, it's a real shock, and I stress that people should go and just check it out. The couple of days before the race, just do a simulation exit, just so you know exactly where you come out of the water and what it's like to run up that first ramp.
If you're looking at this at the bottom of the screen, you see swim finish, and then it's a right. You come out of the water, and then you make a tight left-hand turn, and then it says bridge, and that's all uphill, and it is steep the whole way. Right, and it's not so steep that you have to walk it. I mean, you could run it, but I would suggest you walking it. But it's not so steep that you're gonna be like on your hands and knees getting up it. But it's a steep path that your heart rate is definitely gonna spike if you take it too hard. So I actually would recommend you walking that. A brisk walk. It's not like you're gonna lollygag up the thing, but a brisk walk through it.
And probably think about taking your wetsuit down off your arms once you get to the top of that driveway up that ramp, because there's too many things going on trying to get up that hill while you're trying to wrestle with your wetsuit. Just give yourself a chance to get up that hill first, and then start taking your suit down.
You have a pretty long straightaway down Rifle Road where you can pull your wetsuit down as well. It's not like you're going to be right in transition when you come down the bridge. So come down there. You're right. To come down the bridge and then start peeling that wetsuit down.
And it is carpeted as well, which is great. So you are running on an
something
artificial
to take note
turf.
of. We're going to talk about on the bike course. But you see the bike turn right there, huh?
Yep. Yeah. It's great for spectators because they can just hang out all day around that transition area because they'll see the bike turn, obviously. And by the time the 70.3 athletes are coming in, it'll sort of coincide with the Ironman swimmers would have just finished anyway. So, you've got a lot of activity around there for spectators, which is great.
One thing I want to make note of in this transition, I'm showing the video right now. So if you guys, the picture of it, if you guys are listening to the audio version of this, go look at the picture of it. But it's a really big grassy area. This picture doesn't do it justice.
Yeah. Heaps of room.
Very large transition area, which means that it could be a lot of time in your transition if you don't move through transition. And I'm not saying you have to sprint through it, but you got to keep moving forward the whole way. Am I right?
Yep. And I can't stress how big it is. It's sort of 2 cricket fields on that ground. So people who play cricket will know how big a cricket oval is. So there is a lot of space. You are running. You're running sort of 200 or 300 meters along through the grass there to get to your bike, which is a heap of time. So yeah, don't muck around. If you're going for those sub 10s, you can't be messing around through that transition.
Yeah, exactly. Like every second counts, and don't be hasty, right? Be quick, be present, and keep moving forward the whole way.
Exactly.
So you get out on the bike. We get out on the bike. You get your stuff on, right? Get on the bike. You keep moving. You get a pretty fast transition, And if I remember correctly, coming out on this bike course, you get a pretty nice, about 5K climb coming right out of transition.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, it's about 5K, and it's pretty gradual, but it's enough to actually it, people can ride that section too hard, and you do see it every year where people are just smashing it, pushing themselves up Rough Range Road and then up onto Spa Road, all the way to the top, just riding really really hard, and then that's just such a waste of energy because there's so much time after that to get into your rhythm. So I've always told people just to get out of the water, get onto the bike, just keep the heart rate down, just spinning your way up that hill, making sure that everything is settled in, and starting your fueling plan as soon as you can. And then once you get up onto the top, at the top of Spa Road, making your way towards the racetrack, the Taupo Raceway, then you can start getting into your rhythm of what sort of power do I need to be pushing, you know, getting into the race itself, which is probably about 8K up the road. So I wouldn't be too
Now,
stressed about the first part of the ride.
now this is a different course than they've done at Ironman New Zealand in the past. What have they
Yeah,
changed this year?
yeah. So this is part of the requirement for the Pro Series race, was they needed it to be a loop course where there wasn't a significant out and back section. So you'll see now, for those of you who did the 70.3 Worlds, it's very, very similar to that course. So, but those of you that haven't done the 70.3 Worlds but have done Ironman New Zealand in the past, um, you actually you go down the first part of the descent off past the raceway, which is very, very fast. But then very soon after that descent, there's a left-hander into View Road, and View Road is again a slight climb, but then it turns very quickly into a steep, fast downhill. And that fast downhill on a quick day is super quick. It's 80 90k an hour if you've got the balls for it. But also, if it's an area that you'd have to study a little bit because there is a sort of a curve in the road, and sometimes if the wind is blowing, it can come around those trees and sort of take people by surprise. So you've got to be pretty confident on this course to know how fast you can go, but it's really a section that if you are very, very confident on a bike and you're in control of the situation, that you can get a lot of speed up down there. It's a lot of fun. Looking at the wind on this day, I actually don't think the wind will be much of a factor on that part of the course. I think people will be riding some pretty high speeds down there. But then it winds its way down over the Waikato River, which is a beautiful part of the course, and up onto the State Highway 5, which is essentially the new part you wouldn't have seen before if you've raced Ironman New Zealand. So
And there's
that's
no construction on course like there was at the 70.3 last year.
no, 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 no.
They cleaned it all
Any
up.
roadworks have been fixed, so which
And
is
then you
great.
come in at the halfway point, you go out and do it all again. 70.3, it's easy. You're done
Yep,
after one loop, right? Second loop,
exactly.
Ironman, and you just go repeat.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a couple of and there is a pretty significant climb at the start of State Highway 5 when you turn onto it off the Aratiatia Road.
Where is that?
Um,
Where is that in the topography?
it's about 16k into the ride, 15k into the ride.
So you're looking at that first little hike up after the initial descent.
Yeah,
Then
correct,
climb up about
correct.
5K, you descend, and then you hike up again. So if you guys are
Yep,
looking at the map that I'm showing on screen, that's that, and it looks steeper than all the rest of them. That's what Rob's talking about there.
yep. And it is actually quite a tough little climb. It gets steeper as you get closer to the top. So you'll be in your lowest gear. You might be out of the saddle in the last 30 or 40 meters on the climb, but it is actually the only steep climb in the course. The rest of the climbs in the course are just very, very gradual. But again, it's a part of the course. 15k in, you're feeling pretty good. You're feeling pretty happy with the situation. It is easy to push too hard up that part of the course. So again, keeping an eye on your heart rate, keeping an eye on your power output, and just knowing that once you get over the top of there, you've got a long, long downhill stretch of sort of 15 to 20 k's of really fast downhill. Um, and if that westerly is blowing, as it's forecast, that'll be a pretty good tailwind down there. So it's a fast section of the course, a lot of fun.
All right, beautiful. So two loops of that, and we're going to talk about equipment, nutrition, execution, mindset, that kind of stuff. I just want to go over
Yep.
the specifics of the course, and then we'll get into a little more how to have your best day out there based on your specific needs. So let's get into the second transition. Tell me, can you see the screen right now, Rob? Do you see the second
Yep.
transition?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the second transition now. You come in off the bike, 70.3 or Ironman, same thing. You're going to have the same transition area that you went out at. That it was T1, but now it's T2, right? So looks like you're going to make the you're going to make the U-turn before you go into the finish of the bike, huh? Looks like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
making the
Because
turn.
it's quite a fast downhill coming down to transition. Is that you actually go past the entrance transition to slow yourself down, so you're not coming flying into transition at top speed. So you actually come down past transition, do that U-turn, and so the dismount is on a slight incline.
Well, that's a really good thing to take note of, guys, because after doing 180K on the bike, 112 miles, your wits aren't about you, right? You're not totally there. You just want to get in the transition, get your run shoes on, and say, "Forget this bike. I'm going to run." Remember, there's a tight U-turn at
Yeah,
the end. You got it. You got to keep your head on
yeah,
the swivel for that thing and be mindful because we don't need a broken collarbone coming in off that bike. So be really
no,
conscientious
we
of
don't.
that turn. Be safe. Take it slow. Even if you have to clip out and do it to stay safe, clip out and do it. At that point in the race, your mind isn't there. Your mind is on the run. Don't lose focus. Get that U-turn in, and then you can get in the transition.
Yeah, it's actually about 10 k's of downhill before the end of the bike. It's a really really fast part of the course, and if you're really racing for a time, if you wanted to be competitive, I see a lot of people losing a stack of time in that last 10 k's because they just sort of lose concentration of the race. They think they're on the final downhill leg. They can take it a bit easier, but the nature of our roads in New Zealand is that the chip's quite rough, and you still have to keep pedaling through those parts of the course. They do it steps downhill, but it flattens out in some sections, and if you don't pedal through those sections, you sort of lose a lot of momentum very quickly because there's
And
a
you
lot
can't
of lot of rolling resistance.
exactly. You can't look at the course and say, "Oh, I'm done at 170K." Even though it's 180K,
Yeah,
since it's a downhill, I'm done at 170. I've done that at races in the past. In Ticton, Ironman Canada, the last same
yeah,
thing, last 10K
exactly.
downhill. I said, I'm only going 170 kilometers. The last 10K downhill, I'm gonna be able to cruise. I hit the top of
Yeah,
that climb, and it's a headwind right in my face. And I had 10K of the hardest miles, hardest kilometers I've had all day was that last 10K. Whereas in my mind, I was done, and then I hit it, and I had the pedal for another half hour. So
mm,
don't count your chickens before they're hatched, right? Don't count your eggs before they're chickens. Whatever the saying is, don't
exactly.
do that. Just say, hey, I got to ride 180K. That's what I have to ride no matter what anybody tells me. It's 180K, transition to transition, and I'm going to stay present and mindful every single second I'm out there.
Yeah, and I also stress that if you are in town and you get an opportunity to ride the bike course or parts of the bike course, then go and check out this final 10k because it's really really important to sort of get a feel for that again, especially if you're going for a fast time. If you've got a performance in mind. Absolutely.
So the T2 is the same, right? You go in,
Yep.
you give your bike off to the volunteers, you rack your bike, you run in the changing tent, you change, you come out on the other side transition. That's where you head out onto the run course. Is there anything of note in T2 we should think about?
Excuse me. No, it's for those of you that have done Ironman before. It's the same deal. You run in, rack your bike, run through, pick your bag up, go through the tent. Um, excuse me. There's a well stocked aid station there, so you can take your time to make sure you get everything in that you need. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's it. It's a long, exposed, warm run. So make sure you
yeah,
stay on top of the nutrition, stay on top of the ice, and make sure you put a hat, sunglasses in your bag to put on to shield your face from that sun. So as we
exactly.
move on to the run course, here you go. We got 4 loops of this run course, and you might look at that topography on the bottom and say, "Oh, it's a flat course, no big deal." This is a hard run course, guys. It is. Every single time I go into it and I say, "Oh, it's flat. I'm going to fly on this thing," and it is hard. So talk about it a little
Yeah,
bit, Rob.
that topography graph doesn't show anything of how tough this run course is, does it? It's
Not at
really
all.
misleading.
It fools me every freaking time. Oh, I'm in a run course. I'm going to fly. I'm going to fly. I'm going to go 250 on this run. Uh-uh.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Yeah, I mean, the first part of the run, you're running downhill out of transition. and it's very, very easy. It's very easy to get your speed up, and then you turn in towards the finish area to start, to turn around to come back out again. And it's right where the microphones are, and Cam Harper's on the mic. He's yelling at everybody. He's giving all this encouragement. Don't listen to him because he's telling you to go faster.
I want you to tell him Lubinsky said shut your mouth. Shut your damn mouth, Cam. Yeah, Lubinsky said shut up.
Yeah, exactly. He's not holding back. And then you do a tiny little out and back down towards the yacht club, which is where the original start line used to be, and coming out of there is a small climb. So already you're into the hills. And it's just these little short 20 or 30 metre pinches which just sap away at the legs over the next 42k. And then as you sort of come along the lakefront, it's a gradual climb up, and then a sort of a fast, smooth downhill coming down the other side, and then you hit the lake, round the lake path, which is beautiful. It's on the lake for sure. It's just a fantastic part of the course. But it's again, it's just a unrelenting run course. You're running on a concrete surface which doesn't have much give in it, so your legs will start feeling it after the first few kilometres, and then you turn that rainbow point, which is the furthest part out, and as soon as you come out of that turnaround part, you go straight up a hill, and again it's a short hill but it's steep, and it's just the nature of this course is for the return journey, coming back to the start of the next lap, you're just going up and down, up and down, up and down the whole way. These short little sappy pinches, but man, they feel like mountains by the fourth lap.
Oh yeah, I can't stress it enough. I mean, it is sun upon sun upon sun. There's no reprieve from that beatdown, and that zaps you. So between the concrete, the sun, those little punchy climbs the whole way through, you really got to be on top of your effort. You got to really be on top of what you're capable of within your ability levels. And if anything, err on the side of being conservative and getting through it, as opposed to I'm gonna run as fast as I possibly can, and then halfway through you start to peter out and sputter to the finish.
And the forecast is pretty hot for Saturday. I mean, it says 20-21 degrees in Taupo, but it's not going to be that. It's going to be hotter. It's going to be 24, 25, maybe 26, and there's very little cloud cover. Humidity's quite high. Yeah, the forecast won't tell the true picture. I'm expecting it to be a hot day, but a reasonably fast day if you're prepared for those conditions, if you know what's coming.
Okay. All right. Well, so there's a specific to the course. If you guys have any questions, any further clarification, how about they email you, Rob, since you're the boots on the ground? What's your email address?
Yep. Hit me up, rob@foottrafficcoaching.com.
Rob,
or just hit me through Facebook or Instagram.
Facebook, Rob Dalmore. All right, let's talk about equipment quickly. So swim, obviously you're gonna be wearing your wetsuit, right? You're gonna have your swim cap that they're gonna give you. Tinted goggles. You're gonna recommend tinted goggles on the day?
Yeah, have a selection of tinted or low light goggles. Again, there has been occasional fog race morning, just with the nature of where we are in the centre of the island. You can get a low lying cloud, but the chances are to be pretty clear. But again, remembering that you might have some sunstrike coming back on that return journey, so those tinted goggles will help. So just be prepared for either of those two.
Now, are you going to recommend tri-kip up over the shoulders under the wetsuit, or should they fold it down?
Yeah, so this is a tough one. I've always been tri-suit up over my shoulders, but my front zip down. So I've got movement through my chest and through my arms, but I'm not wrestling with the tri-suit to try and get it on when I've taken my wetsuit down. But I've also liked a bit of flexibility around my chest, so I don't like the zip being all the way up to the top. What are you? How do you go?
I'll tell you what I did. What I did in Nice, where I was really concerned about the heat of the water and overheating. And this is different, because if you're racing the 70.3, I would not say this. I would say with 70.3, I'll roll it down to my waist, put the wetsuit on over it. For the full Ironman, you're out there for 4K, I would say this is what I did. And if you're worried about overheating, I wore a Speedo under my wetsuit. And then I went into transition. I put my tri-kit on, the nice dry tri-kit. It took almost as fast as it was if I didn't do anything, right? It was quick. It was on and out. but I put on my kit in the changing tent in T1 for an Ironman, right? So if that's what we're worried about overheating, if that's not an issue, maybe you get cold a little easier, then I would say put your tri kit on, but peel it down to your waist.
Yeah.
Because you might be cold the first 100 meters, 200 meters, but with the water temperature and the wetsuit, you're still going to be on the verge of overheating when you get 2-3K in. So I would say at the least, peel it down to your waist. If you're really worried about overheating in that type of conditions with the wetsuit on, because everybody's going to be wearing a wetsuit, wear a Speedo underneath and put the kit on. Have you ever done this, Rob?
So I actually wear, I kind of do. I actually wear a tri-short, and then I've had my tri-suit on over the top. So by the time I come to the end of the bike, I actually take my tri-suit off, and I've got my tri-short still underneath, and I just put a singlet on for the run. Rather than, I don't really like being restricted up around my arms. I don't like have clothing on. What that does give you is a double tri-chamois for the bike. So you got a little bit of protection for your undercarriage.
Okay, so that's the swim. That's what we recommend on the swim. Bike. Now, bike's a big. You're gonna be wearing. Most of you guys are gonna be wearing aero helmets. You have your sunglasses or your visor. Big thing that I want to talk about is tire pressure, and this is something we talk about every year when we talk about Ironman New Zealand because of that chip seal. What are you going to recommend tire pressure? And I know all the tires are different. You can go to the tire pressure guide, but typically when you're racing Ironman New Zealand, you've done it countless times. What's your tire pressure for this race?
So it's changed so much because technology's changed. Back in the early days, it was 100 psi on 23 mil tires, and we used to feel every little bump on the road. But and then I went through a phase where I was running, tubulars on, I had a 26 mil tubular on the rear and a 23 mil on the front, and that was starting to get lower pressure. But the last couple of years, it was a 28 mil, either tubeless or TPU in the tube, running them at about 70 psi, 70. Although you have to check with the rim that you use, because some of the rims are limited to a maximum tire pressure. So if you use a hookless zip, then I think 70 psi is the highest you can go to anyway. So, but certainly be running 28 mil tires on mid 60s to 70 psi if you're a 70 kilos, 80 kilo male.
Actually, a good thing that I've done in the past recently is I use ChatGPT. I put in the course, I put in what wheels I have, what tires I have. It spits out exactly your PSI, and just go by that.
Yeah, perfect.
ChatGPT, you don't lie.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to talk about is helmet choice, because a lot of you guys you put on your aero helmet, right? And it's hot. The sun's beating down. That aero helmet a lot of times is just like a sauna on your head, just heating up that skull. So you might look at ventilation in your helmet too. What was Craig Alexander wearing the 3 times he won Kona? Right?
Yeah.
He was wearing a road helmet with all the vents.
Yeah, except when he broke his record and run his last run, he wore an aero helmet. So, but yeah, you're exactly right.
So don't be afraid to get a little more ventilation, and then it's much easier to throw water on your head when you're not wearing the aero helmet. So, it's a case-by-case basis, but if it's something you're worried about, don't be afraid to make the decision for the cooler helmet, because I can't stress enough how physically and mentally depleting this run is. If you're spending it all in the swim, spending it all on the bike because you want to be as aerodynamic as possible, that aerodynamic's out the window if you overheat and you're walking on the run. So if you're someone who overheats easily, it's going to be hot, that sun's going to be beating down, pick a helmet that's a little more ventilation. Maybe it's not as aero, but you have more ventilation, you can get more water on your head throughout at each aid station.
I always reckon if you're not looking at riding over 32, 33k an hour average speed for this bike course, you're better off using a road helmet with ventilation. If you are riding slower than those speeds and you have got an aero helmet, they do start getting heavy, and as soon as you start moving your head round, that tail can create a bit of turbulence. And think about the whole day as itself. What's going to get me to the finish line in better shape? An aero helmet or keeping yourself cool through the course of the ride?
What about wheel choice?
Again, if you're fast, if you really want to go for a time, a disc wheel is always going to be the quickest on this course, and especially a disc wheel with a good tyre these days. Good, fast, high quality 28 mil tyre is just such a quick setup, and something that's on the front that's not going to be too overpowering if the wind starts coming into play. So, 50 to 60 mil depth or a tri-spoke is a great setup. But again, riding something that's consistent with your own abilities. So, I've seen some very, very fast times on people riding 50, 60 mil front and rear deep section wheels, just because they've been able to keep pushing the pedals the whole way, not fighting the wind, but also not dragging a heavy disc up a hill. So it's a real personal thing. But yeah, certainly if you're going for speed, then running a disc is going to make a massive difference.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on the run. So we already said you want to have a hat, sunglasses for sure. Another thing that you said that you change your singlet in T2, right? You put on a fresh top, and that some of my fastest runs off the bike, 250, 255 off the bike, I've changed completely, right? I put on running shorts, a singlet, fresh socks, obviously the shoes, and you just feel like it's a new race, right? So you take it out and you just feel fresh. So a lot of us say, oh, we got to wear our kit on the run. Not the case. You can go in the changing tent, put on your running gear, and go head out and run in your running gear. So it just same thing as if you're putting on your kit in T1, it shouldn't take 10 minutes to do. You should be on and off if that's something that's going to help you have a great run out there, because we need to have you in a great mind space as well as physical space coming out of T2. And if changing your gear and getting that kind of fresh start means you're going to be in a better physical, mental space coming out of T2, take the time to do it.
Yeah. You got to make yourself feel like you're a runner, and by putting running gear on, suddenly you just turn yourself into a marathon runner, and it's so much more comfortable. So if you are conscious about wanting to really feel like you're comfortable running, then it's not a bad thing to do. It only takes a couple extra seconds, but it can make a massive difference in the course of the day.
What are your thoughts on shoe choice for this race?
Yeah, it's a tough one, eh? I know that carbon shoes and these super shoes these days are great, but they're great for people that are doing certain paces. Not all carbon super shoes are going to work better for others, and the slower you go, the less effective they can be. In the end, you've got to be comfortable, and you've got to be able to come. And for most people, Ironman is just a long run training pace anyway, long training run pace. So it's not something that actually can race and attack. Again, if you're going for a fast time and if you really wanted to be competitive, then definitely be putting your super shoes on. But if you wanted just to complete the course and enjoy it and have a good day out there, putting your training shoes on that you've been doing your training and you're comfortable, that's going to be the best option for you. So just be cognizant of how fast you actually are going to be running through this race and what your intentions are, and making the decision around the footwear for that.
And that's exactly, a lot of us haven't raced in the super shoes, the carbon shoes. We just are trained in them, and then we just go racing them. And the amount of stress that puts on the hips, the Achilles, the knees, the ankle. Sure, it's fine for 15, 16 miles, 20, 30K. But as soon as you start getting those later miles and that stress adds up, you start feeling these weird pains, this weird stress that you've never felt before. And that leads to sputtering out to the finish. So be realistic. Don't just say, I'm gonna put on super shoes. That's because that's what everybody else is doing. If you've been training in trainers and you're comfortable in those trainers and you run your long runs in those trainers, race in those trainers. You're going to have a faster time than if you say, oh, I got to put on my carbon shoes because that's what everybody else is doing. That's what the marketing tells me I'm going to be faster. They put too much stress in the wrong places. If you're not adapted to that stress and you're just doing it because that's how I'm going to be fastest, you're going to right to the finish, right? So race in what you're comfortable in, race in what you're confident in, and that's going to lead. Still, my fastest marathons off the bike have been in non-super shoes. It was before they even came out. Right?
Yeah,
so you can run fast in regular trainers. Marketing doesn't say that, but our own example, I'm sure you're the same way. Our fastest runs off the bike have come in just regular trainers.
Super shoes are terrible for walking in as well. So if you end up having to have a walk and you're wearing super carbon shoes, they're awful.
You feel even worse. You look down at a $400 pair of shoes. What the hell am I doing walking in these things? But another thing that I want to recommend, and this course, because it's such a hard course, such a hard packed course with the concrete and the hard terrain, I would also recommend, if it's something you can do in the next 7 days and feel that you're comfortable, is wearing compression socks. Have you ever done this in a race?
No, I don't. But I can completely understand logic there as well. I've never found them comfortable, so I haven't just
It
gone there.
really
But
helps
yeah,
with the stability and kind of absorbing a little of that stress in that heart. And this is something I don't want you to
yeah,
do on race day if it's the first time you're doing it. But maybe you've done your long runs in compression socks. Maybe you have a few runs this week left where you can try it and say, hey, you know what? I feel pretty good. I feel like a race like this, same thing as like Arizona, where it's all concrete, and I've raced some pretty fast times on that course. You can wear a pair of compression socks on this run course, and it's going to help absorb a little that ground impact stress that you get every single stride running on that harder packed concrete.
yeah. It's. I mean, if you think about muscle vibration, every time you hit the ground and the muscle is shaking and it's receiving tiny little amounts of trauma every footstep. By just having that compression sock holding it in place, it just reduces that vibration and reduces that tuning through that muscle, which just allows you to run more efficiently for longer. So I mean that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
So that's some equipment stuff we recommend for those disciplines. Nutrition wise, obviously you guys have been practicing your nutrition. We're gonna have precision hydration on course. Every aid
Yep.
station has pH 1000. The Morton gels are gonna be at all the
Morton.
aid stations as well.
Yep.
Practice, or execute what you've been practicing in training. If anything, add ice, add cooling. Any nutrition takeaways or things that these guys can take away going into race day, Rob?
Yeah, I think the important thing is, if you have lived and trained on your own product, it's good to use it through the race as well. I mean, pH 1000 doesn't have carbohydrate in it, so you will need another source of carbohydrate from somewhere. But I actually think it's a good thing that they don't provide a carbohydrate drink in the aid stations, because it just gives you that flexibility of saying, well, this is an electrolyte drink. It's going to be superb for hydration, but I have my carbohydrate drink on my bike. That's going to be my go-to for fueling. So, and know that being a 2-lap bike course, you can restock through through the special needs area by picking up more bottles, and it's a great way to do that race, and to know that when you do pick up a pH 1000, you're getting a solid dose of electrolytes, so that's replenishing all the lost salts from the sweating and the exertion prior to that.
Yeah, remember that's a really good point. Use the special needs. Don't blow right through it. Don't say, "Oh, I gotta make up time here." And not stop at special needs. Use the special needs station, or the personal needs station they call it now. About halfway through the bike course on the Ironman, they don't have it on the half Ironman, but get in your electrolytes, get in your carbohydrates, but also don't forget to get in straight water as well. Right?
Yeah,
Don't get caught up taking in all of the product, and then all of a sudden your stomach becomes like a brick because it's all carbohydrates, all sugars. If you're not flushing it with some water too, and making sure that sugar is diluted in your gut, it's just going to sit in your gut and it's not going to dissipate into the system. So make sure you're taking in straight water too. And for every sip of electrolytes or carbohydrates you're taking a sip of straight water.
exactly. Pure water's great. It's just the nicest thing. It's clean. It's fresh. It just rinses out those horrible sickly tastes you get from a lot of the sports drink that we have. And it just keeps everything going.
So stay on your plan. Make sure you've written your nutrition plan out, and then you go out there and execute it, right? That's all there is to it, right? Follow your specific plan and go execute it. One thing I really wanted to touch on for this course, and this is all Ironman courses in general, but this course is mindset, because you have a long swim, right? Obviously, an Ironman's a long swim, a half Ironman's a long swim. Scenery doesn't change when you're swimming. You're looking down at the water. You get out of the water, you get on the bike, and you're out in the farm country, right? And there's not much to look at. There's not much to take your attention away from the effort, and it's a lot of time for your mind to wander, right?
Yeah.
So between the long swim and the long bike out to the middle of nowhere, that's a lot of time in your own head. How do you approach, when you're doing this course, how do you stay mindful and keep present on the process without letting that mind go into that negative funnel of bad thoughts?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I always try and find myself with someone else on the bike course, and using them as a gauge. I don't really like getting isolated, because I find I lose focus, and if I do, then I have to really turn into the power I'm pushing and how I'm feeling in general. But if I've got someone around me, all I need to do is just sit at 12 meters, or for a time maybe be in front of them. But I just know that we're just working together, and it's a great way to be. So I always try to make sure that I've got someone around me to keep me going, because I'm terrible to ride on my own. I lose a lot of focus, a lot of time. But if you have got the ability to look at power or heart rate, it's a good way to do it. But also knowing the course, knowing where the next bend is in the road, knowing the next hill, knowing what's coming up, that does help a lot actually, because you just have to think, I just need to put my head down. I've got this section coming up here, get over that. I've got this next bit coming along here. So course knowledge is really important as well.
Yeah, and you really hit it on the head there. It's like, pay attention to your heart rate, pay attention to the power, pay attention to how you're riding, pay attention to other riders, let them use them to motivate. Pay attention to nutrition timing, right? Just look forward to when your next feeding is. Okay, I'm going to take a sip every 5 minutes of my electrolytes. I'm going to take a gel every 15 minutes, and then you're looking forward to the next one. But I think the last thing you said, Rob, is spot on. Know the course, right? You know what to look forward to, know what's coming next. It's going to help in the Ironman to have 2 loops, because by the second loop, you're like, oh, I remember this turn, that turn, this turn. So it's something to look forward to. But if you can do that from the start, if you can, maybe a lot of your fellow countrymen over there have raced this a lot. So they're going to be from the start, oh, I know this turn, I know that turn, right? I've done the 70.3. But a lot of you guys going over there for the first time, get out there. It's 2 loops. You can drive 90K, 56 miles a couple days beforehand. Do it 2 times. Do it a couple times before the race. So for that very reason, sure, for performance wise, it's going to be great. From timing of nutrition wise, it's going to be great. But from just keeping that mindset the whole way through as to what's coming next, and there's not any mystery. And that's when there's a mystery and you're looking what the hell's going to happen next mile? What's going to happen the next kilometer? What's going to happen the next kilometer? That makes for a long 180K, right?
Yeah.
So know the course, know the ins and outs of the course, and that's going to help that mindset stay solid from beginning to end.
Yeah, absolutely. People really got to drive this course beforehand just to have a look at it. And yeah, especially if you haven't raced this. I mean, if you didn't do the 70.3 Worlds, you need to go and check out the Highway 5 and get a good feel for it. The other thing I remember is, you get to that 150k mark and you think, oh, I've only got 30k's left. Sweet, it's an hour or whatever. It's not an hour, because you've got a long climb up Broadlands Road before you get to the top, and that last 30k's can take a lot longer than you expect it to. It's not just the normal 30k's that you have in a training ride. So just understand that, you're looking at your clock, you know you're on target for a certain time. Just remember that it's a slow 30k's. That last section.
You just got to take it 5K at a time. You find yourself looking too far ahead. Same thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to be there in a half hour. Then all of a sudden, a half hour in, you're only 10K down the road. Or whatever it is. My math isn't right there, but take it 5K at a time. Move on to the next 5K. Move on to the next 5K. So break it down into these smaller segments, and then just take it one segment at a time. Whatever your split is for that segment, move on to the next segment and execute that one to the best of your ability, and so on and so on and so on. But don't let your mind look down the road too far. Just stay present, focus on the process, and focus on the current task at hand.
Yeah, simple.
It's that easy. All right, Rob. Any final thoughts on this course, on this race? Anybody you want to say hi to? Maybe race director? What do you got?
I mean, the race organisers at Ironman New Zealand are just incredible. They've been doing it for so long, and I'm probably a bit biased, but it is the best Ironman that I've done in the world. So if you are coming to Ironman New Zealand and this is your first time, you're in for a real treat. It's going to be great. Wayne and his crew. We had Wayne on our pod for pre 70.3 Worlds, and he's a funny man. He's got a great sense of humour. So you can look forward if you're meeting Wayne along the next week. Have a good chat to him.
That's right, man.
But
you see Wayne over there, give him a hug for me, bud.
Yeah. And the crowds here are crazy. Tupou's been the home of Ironman New Zealand for a long time, and everyone gets in behind it. So many people have grown up here and now have become great triathletes as well. So it's a great sport for the kids. It's a great event for the kids to be watching. You'll see a lot of fans on the side of the road, and a lot of us coaching groups have tents set up as well. So you'll see the foot traffic tent there. We'll be making a bit of a racket.
Let's do some live streaming from the break.
Oh yeah.
So how about you
we
stream
will.
on Instagram?
Yeah.
Conquer the Course Instagram page, and we'll do it live. We'll share it on our own personal pages, but let's do some live streaming. That's always fun.
I'll try and get a mid-race interview with with Christian or Mike Phillips or someone.
Yeah,
or
right there, just
Jack
run
Moody.
alongside of them
Yeah.
at what is it, 3.5 minute per K pace, whatever they're running at the time. So run alongside them, get an interview. But Rob, these guys have any more questions? Shout out your email address again.
Yeah, Rob at foottrafficcoaching.com.
Rob at foottrafficcoaching.com. I'm Jim at tower26.com. Guys, good luck out there. Have fun. I'm sorry I'm not going to be there this year, but maybe I'll put on the race schedule for next year. I am not retired, unlike my co-host here.
Yeah, you're not like me. Yeah.
Rob, it's always fun, buddy. Hope these guys got something out of it. Any last words from you? We good?
No, good luck, everybody. Yeah, we'll see you out there. Come and say hi. Come and say hi if you see me.
Good luck. All right, remember, guys, see the race announcer Cam. Tell him Lubinsky said, "Shut your trap." All right, guys.
Yeah.
All right, good luck. Have fun out there, guys. We're always the wind beneath your wings. That's us, me and Rob.
That's it.
Conquer the Course podcast for Rob Delmore, Jim Lubinsky. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Good luck.